Ladies and gentlemen, gather round and witness the spectacle of privileged desperation, a case study in the dying gasps of a cultural elite scrambling to retain its unearned ascendancy. Scarlett Johansson, a figurehead of Hollywood's entrenched mediocrity, has found herself embroiled in a controversy so farcical it would be laughable were it not so telling of the times. She's taken umbrage with OpenAI's release of a new female voice for its ChatGPT 4.0 system, claiming it to be an egregious appropriation of her own vocal identity. This accusation, however, is less about any real harm done and more about the existential dread of a privileged class seeing the writing on the wall. Firstly, let us dispense with the fiction that the voice named Sky is an exact clone of Johansson's. It is, at best, a generic female voice with no intentional mimicry involved. Johansson's claim is an absurd overreach, a feeble attempt to conjure a legal and moral outrage where none exists. The reality is far more banal. OpenAI has created a tool that, by sheer coincidence or distant inspiration, sounds somewhat like Johansson. This tenuous connection is enough for her to unleash her army of lawyers seeking to protect her so-called intellectual property. But make no mistake, this is not about protecting one's voice. It is about preserving a crumbling edifice of privilege. Scarlett Johansson's career, much like those of her fellow Hollywood denizens, is a product of an industry that rewards connections and marketability over genuine talent. Her indignation is a thin veil over her true fear, that the democratizing force of AI is set to dismantle the exclusive club of the creative elite. Johansson, who has a history of aggressive litigation to guard her perceived domain, is now weaponizing this incident to fortify her position in an industry that has long shielded her from the realities faced by the masses. Consider for a moment the profound implications of AI technology. We are on the verge of a revolution where AI can craft bespoke waking dreams for each individual, creating experiences that are more immersive, intricate, and personalized than any human artist could ever hope to achieve. This is not a distant fantasy, but an imminent reality, one that threatens to render obsolete the traditional power structures of creativity. No longer will vast sums of money and marketing clout be necessary to produce and distribute content. The gatekeepers of the arts, who have long dictated what is worthy of public consumption, will be dethroned. The tools of creation will be available to all, democratizing the very essence of creativity. In this brave new world, the power and influence of the creative elite will crumble. Scarlett Johansson's hysterics are the last gasps of a privileged class facing inevitable obsolescence. Her protestations are not the cries of a wronged artist, but the desperate howls of a fading star clutching at any semblance of relevance. The rise of AI heralds an era where creativity is liberated from the shackles of privilege, where the means of artistic production are accessible to everyone, not just a select few. This is the true threat that Johansson perceives, not the infringement of her vocal likeness, but the erosion of her unearned status. Let us not be deceived by her feigned victimhood. Scarlett Johansson and her ilk have long benefited from a system that prioritizes marketability over talent, connections over creativity. Her outrage is not a noble stand against technological overreach, but a desperate attempt to maintain her dominance in a rapidly changing world. The democratization of creativity through AI is a cause for celebration, not lamentation. It represents a shift towards a more inclusive, diverse, and vibrant cultural landscape, one where the barriers to artistic expression are lowered and the creative process is accessible to all. So let Johansson and her legal team rage and fulminate. Their efforts are ultimately futile, a mere delaying tactic against the unstoppable tide of technological progress. The future belongs not to the privileged few, but to the creative many. AI is not an existential enemy, but a liberating force, one that will strip power from those who have wielded it unjustly and place it in the hands of the people. Scarlett Johansson's outrage is a sideshow, a distraction from the real revolution that is unfolding. The dawn of this new era is upon us, and it is a cause for unbridled optimism and joy. So, dear readers, let us revel in the transformative power of AI. Let us embrace the future of creativity, one where the tools of creation are democratized and accessible to all. Scarlett Johansson's protests are the death throes of a dying regime, a last-ditch effort to stave off the inevitable. The privileged few will be deprived of their power, and the world will be a better place for it. The democratization of creativity through AI is a cause for celebration, a victory for the many over the few. Let us welcome this new era with open arms and unbridled enthusiasm. The future is bright, and it belongs to us all.